Today I'm eating a dish called麻辣香锅. Um, Mala means spicy. So in Chinese there are two different kinds of spicy. There's like numbing spicy and hot spicy. Ma means the numbing spicy, and la means the hot spicy. And just the two words together just mean spicy. So mala. Xiangguo means, xiang just means fragrant, and guo means pot. So it's spicy, fragrant pot, which doesn't really tell you a lot about the dish, but that's the name of it. This is a kind of another kind of stir-fried dish. It's got all kinds of different stuff in it, but it can range in spiciness from like extremely, extremely spicy to barely spicy at all. The way that I get it, I usually order it not particularly spicy. And the place I order from, they also will do like kind of a sweet and sour kind of sauce. So it's kind of a little spicy, a little sweet, and a little sour. So that's just but this is a very versatile dish. This is the kind of thing where you go in, it's kind of like when you get a burrito in America or Subway, where you go in and you pick all the different things you want and then they just make the thing for you. So this dish could have any number of different ingredients based on what you want. You just tell them which ingredients you want and they just mix them together and stir it up. It's typically it's a pretty spicy food. I get the pretty much the lowest end of the spiciness. So I can show you some of the things that I get in mine. It's usually, you can see it's just like a stir-fried thing with some like spicy oil in it. And then you just eat it with rice. I can show you the things I get in mine. There's tons of other things that I just get the things that I like. So I get some kinds of meat and some kinds of veggies and stuff, and then just I pick and choose the stuff you want. And so this thing is a slice of sausage. The city where I live, Harbin, is kind of famous for their sausage. They have a specialty sausage that it's called Harbin Hongchang, Harbin red sausage. And that's kind of like a local specialty food. So they're just pieces of sausage they've sliced really thin and thrown in. So I usually get that. As far as other meats, I got with some chicken. This is just like cuts of breast meat, basically. I also get it with a bit of this is called wuhua ro. Wuhua means 5 flour, and ro means meat. But what it is, it's basically bacon. It's pork belly, so like you can see, it's got the fatty, where it's really fatty kind of strips of fat. So that's why it's called wuhua, because there's 5 strips of meat, fat, meat, fat, meat. Typically, I mean, this one has 4 strips, meat, fat, but like sometimes it has 5, so they call it 5 flour meat. But it's basically just bacon, but not cured the same way that we would cure it in the West. It's the same cut, though. The other meat that I get is just strips of beef. This is just like really thinly sliced, kind of hot pot style beef. So that's the meat that I get put in. These places have tons of different selections. So like You can also get it with various kinds of meatballs, different strips of other kinds of meat, various kinds of sausages, fish cakes, pieces like crab meat, fake crab meat kind of things. There's, depending on which restaurant you go to, there could be hundreds of different variations of things you can get in this. Any given restaurant will probably have in the range of 10 to 20 meat options and 10 to 20 vegetable options, and then you just pick, like the restaurant I order from, they let you pick up to 12 things. You just get, and I don't usually pick all 12, but I don't actually know how many I picked this time, but I just pick out the stuff I want, and they put that in. Another thing I get is Lotus Root. It's really good. I actually don't remember the Chinese name for this, so I can't tell you what it's called right now. It's one of those funny things where I can read it. I know what the characters look like. So like on a menu I can order it, but I always forget what the words are, so I don't remember how to say it. There's quite a few words like that where I'm just so used to seeing, like, because when you just see the writing all the time, you get to where, like, you know what a character means, but you don't remember how to say it, so you just know that it means something. And that's one of the things that's like that for me. Another thing is I get these little knots. These are noodles. These are like a clear starch noodle. They're made from like either taro or sweet potato starch. And they're kind of like, in the West, I think you would call them crystal noodles. And then what they do is they put them and then they tie them into a little knot. You can see they've just tied them into a knot. So I said, I think in a different video, that noodles are called mian. But mian are a specific kind of noodles, and often other kinds of noodles are called fen or fur. So I think these are called mo yu fur. I don't really understand the etymology of that. Mo is like the word for magic. So they're like magic potato noodles, or starch. Yu is taro, I think. So like it's like magic taro noodles. I don't really understand the etymology, but that's what they call them. Another thing that I get is, this is kind of hard to see probably, but this is called dough pea. Dough is from tofu, which is tofu, right? And the word we use in English is just taken from the Chinese. We just pronounce it slightly different. We say tofu, they say doufu. And pea means skin. So this is the thin skin that develops on tofu when you're making it, when you just let it sit. At the top, it'll get a skin that develops, and then they take it off, and that's that. It has a very kind of chewy texture. Like most tofu things, it doesn't really have any flavor. It's just kind of a vehicle for holding sauce, basically. But it has a nice texture, and I like getting it mixed in. It holds the sauce really well. Let's see what else I can find in here. Oh, and then I have another kind of tofu as well. That was the tofu skin, the dough pea. And then this one is, I don't know if you can see the kind of markings on it. I don't think it's going to focus. It's called dried tofu, Gandofu. So this is, they take tofu and dry it out. It has a bunch of little dots on it because of the sheet, the material that they rest the tofu on. It's kind of like a screen, so it has lots of little tiny. It's a very textured thing. It's slightly more chewy than the tofu skin, but it's very similar. But then usually it'll come in sheets, and then usually you chop it into strips. So this is cut into some strips. That's a good. It also like holds sauce really well, so it's a good flavor holder. When it's available, I really like getting broccoli in this dish. This in the winter now they don't really have it. It's pretty unusual to get broccoli here. So it's fairly rare, and most restaurants won't have it, but occasionally you find a restaurant that has broccoli, and they'll put it in. Broccoli is called silanhua. But again, the key with this dish is just getting stuff that holds sauce well. The sauce it's kind of like a really runny, oily sauce. You can kind of see how it's like collected at the bottom. So you just need things that hold that sauce well. Then I think the last thing, this is bamboo shoots. Bamboo shoot. I've forgotten the Chinese on this one, so it's ju, like bamboo is ju, but there's another word for the shoot thing, so like it's ju something, but I don't remember it right now. I think that's everything I've got in here. This is quite a popular lunch. Like a quick lunch thing. There are kind of two similar things. There's a dish called麻辣香锅. That's this one. And there's another one called 麻辣汤. Tang means soup. And so 麻辣汤, although actually the tang in 麻辣汤 means hot or hot soup. Like temperature hot. There's another word, tong. That's the same sound, but it actually just means soup. The characters are based on each other, so one uses the other one. But the tong in mala tang is like soup with hot soup. That's a soup. It's a similar idea. These are very popular lunch restaurant kind of things where you just go in. They've got just like a buffet kind of style of a whole bunch of ingredients, and you just like you throw whatever you want into your bowl and then give it to them, and then they cook it up for you. The malatang, they cook it into a soup. They use a broth, and they just drop everything in the broth and cook it, and then you get a soup with all the ingredients you want. It's more common to have that one with lots of kind of veggies and things, but they'll also have meats and stuff on offer as well. And then mala xiangguo is cooked in a like a wok kind of cooking device. It's still fairly juicy, but it's not a soup. I mean it at home. I get it delivered, but it's very common to go in the shop, and this is a very common kind of go in the shop kind of thing. Just point out all the stuff you want, and then they cook it up for you. So it's a pretty quick and easy kind of thing. It's really cheap too. The ingredients are usually quite cheap. With a lot of these kind of restaurants, they actually charge you based on weight. So You just get whatever ingredients you want, put them in a bowl, and then they weigh that, and then they charge you however much the weight was, and then they just cook it up for you. I suppose it's similar.麻辣香锅is similar to Mongolian barbecue, Mongolian style barbecue. Except, I mean, in the process, where like at a Mongolian barbecue restaurant, you pick out all the stuff, you put it in a bowl, and then you give it to them, and then they cook it on the flat top. This is cooked in a pot, or like a wok. That's a similar process of you pick out all your stuff, you give it to them, and then they cook it up for you. And then you tell them like how spicy you want it, basically. Some of these places will do it like unbelievably spicy. I've had friends who were into like really hot food, and some of these restaurants can get you like really, really, really spicy. I don't mind a bit of spiciness in my food, but I'm not like seeking out really, really spicy stuff. So like, I typically order the like mildest one that they offer, like the mildest version, which is still like I can feel a bit of heat in my mouth. It's still slightly spicy, but it's not really like particularly. It has a hint of spice, but it's not particularly spicy. But it's very flavorful. There are several different ways. Like some people just get it spicy. I get it with the mixed in like the sweet and the sour as well. Just because I think that adds more flavor and like it's a more complex flavor in my opinion, and I like that more. Well, I think I've said about all I'm going to say about this. I'm going to finish up eating this, and I guess I'll end the video there. See you next time.